Good morning. Good morning.
Morning. How are you this morning?
Conversations with AMR Elite
Morning.
Realtors. I am Alicia Richardson, broker and CEO of AMR Elite Realtors with Taylor Properties. And I have here with me Miss Juanita Wakey Kennedy, Miss Mashana Perry, and Mr. Ahmad of Alhumd Inspections. Hey,
All
everybody.
right. Woo, woo, woo.
So, everybody go to take a time and introduce yourselves and say what you got to say this morning. Miss Juanita.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Conversations. It's 2024. Remember, we're going to increase our score and we're going to get that house for you and we're going to get them ahead to go and take a look at it and make sure that it's safe and sound for your family in 2024.
Yes. That's
Mashana?
so I am Mashana Perry, broker owner of Making Moves Happen Realty in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm excited to have Mr. Ahmed here today to tell us all about what we need to do to get prepared for that home inspection.
All right. I'm Ahmed, home inspector, owner of Alhumd Inspections and operator. I've been doing inspections for almost 5 years now, then construction for 10 years. And we have some specific information for you that will be very helpful for you for winter season.
Yes, that
Yes.
is great. Now, everybody, I'm going to brag a little bit. Our home inspections is excellence. You need to start using them. They should be in your database. We love our home inspections. He's very thorough and he's just a great home inspector, very personable, all of that. Everything you need that's going to help you look good and be good for your clients.
Yes, indeed.
That's awesome. Very important. So let's get down to some questions because I know our viewers are really interested in what they need to do. So my first question is, because I know y'all have some snow and some crazy weather up north, right? So what is some of the craziest winter damages that you have seen when inspecting a home?
Well, one of the very common and important and expensive damages is caused due to ice dams. When there's a lot of snow on the roof and there is hot air getting through the attic, some of the snow melts. When it comes to the overhang or the eaves, it freezes again, and it prevents the proper drainage of the water. So the water is stuck behind the ice dam that is frozen or refrozen at the eaves, and water starts to seep in through the attic through the sheathing, and you will see water leaks and sheathing damage and moisture issues in the attic. So
Mhm.
that is very common and expensive in winter season. So you have to make sure that you have good ventilation in the attic, good insulation in the attic, so there is proper temperature maintained in the attic, and you don't form any ice dams in the attic.
Wow, that's
Mhm.
interesting because I never go in my attic. So that's
Right,
good to know. Right, that's good
right.
to know. So I have one other question. So if you are on public water, do you still need to drip those sinks in order for the pipes not to freeze?
Yes, so for the exterior hose faucets, either you winterize them or you have to drip them. And if you have a crawl space, then it is very important that the supply pipes, they should be properly insulated. So because in crawl spaces, the temperature goes below zero, or whatever the exterior temperature is, and the supply pipes can freeze, expand, and damage. So crawl space pipes should be specifically, insulated. If the pipes are inside the house, then you have heating system on, so they don't normally would go below freezing. But yes, exterior pipes, supply pipes should be insulated, or they should be dripped.
Awesome.
Oh.
Great information.
Yeah, so that
Great.
was one of my questions too. I was going to ask about those outside spigots. So I know inside of the house you're able to turn off like the water to those. So we really should make sure those are turned off.
Yes, and then open the hose faucet on the outside, so all the water in the pipe should run out. There should be no water left in the
Oh,
pipe, so it doesn't. Yeah.
got you. Yeah, because my what my husband does is we are on public water, but he opens the cabinet doors. He keeps the cabinet doors open all night if it's going to
Mm.
freeze, because he feels like the heat in the house is going to keep the pipes heated. But I know I've never dripped that spigot, and I've never, really turned that water off. So I'm like, do you really have to do that? Will it only mess up that pipe, or will it mess up every pipe in the house?
But it will only mess up the pipe that is going to freeze. So if it's like on the exterior side, it only mess the exterior pipes. But because again, all the pipes are somehow connected sometimes,
Mhm.
so it can allow water leakage through that pipe. So if there's one leak, it's as bad. So
So then I have another. I want to double back to something you mentioned when you were answering Mashana's first question, and you were talking about the insulation. Now I know a lot of the houses now, they're older homes that are being sold, and you'll say that it should be a R something level in the attic, and I know there's a standard, or the standard or the requirement, state requirement. If that house does not have that state requirement, if that R factor is lower,
mhm.
does that cause that problem that you're talking about with the ice?
Basically, that if you have good insulation and good ventilation, these are two things. So you need to have good insulation and good ventilation. Insulation is for two things. One, it does not allow the heating inside the house to get into attic, so it's like a barrier. And second, it does not allow the cold air from the attic to get inside the house. And ventilation is to maintain a good temperature in the attic, so it is like the like same temperature throughout the attic. It doesn't have any hot areas or cold areas. So if, for example, you have some people, they leave ventilation from the bathroom exhaust fan into the attic, and if it is pointed to one spot, you take a hot shower, it will take out hot air outside close to the attic, and it will melt snow on the outside in that specific spot. But in the rest of the attic, it has cold temperature, so you will have ice or snow on the outside, but it will melt snow in one specific spot. So it will form ice dams. It will prevent proper runoff of the water, and it can basically freeze at certain areas and stop the drainage of the water. That will allow the water, because it is melting snow, so in those spots it will not form ice, it will remain water, and that water can seep in.
Got you.
So it is like a two-step thing, and ventilation and insulation both should be good to prevent ice dams.
Do you inspect just that, or do you have to inspect the entire house?
Well, we inspect the entire house, but yes, these two things are very important in winters.
That's good to know. That's very, very good to know. So I have a question about the de-icing thing. So I've seen my neighbors put out the ice melt, and as a matter of fact, my husband put out ice melt and melted the concrete, okay, in my driveway. I've seen kitty litter. I've seen people with actual salt.
Mhm.
I've seen people take the salt that the county spreads because it's piled up so much. They'll take that and put that on the driveway. But I also actually saw someone putting it into their gutters. So I'm just trying
Mhm.
to find out what is like a good icing thing to use, and is that gutter thing a good idea?
Well, normally people don't put that in gutters, but it's you can do that. But because it will only melt the ice in the gutter, there's still more coming through the
Right,
roof, and it will take out all the salt. So you will have to put it again and again
right.
unless all the ice melts. Otherwise, the salt that you put in the gutter, as it melts the ice, it will drain with the water. So it will be like a continuous process unless all the ice on the roof melts and it comes down. But yeah, I would say it's very important to invest in these kind of tools for snow removal for driveways, walkways. Have and it's also important to monitor how much snow you have on the roof. For example, if you have like two layers of shingles and you get a lot of snow, then it's important to get that snow removed because there's already a lot of weight on the roof because of those two layers of shingles.
Right.
So you cannot wait for the snow to melt. It's better to get a company and just get it removed because it is adding a lot of load on the structure.
Yeah, I think he was afraid there was ice in his gutters, and I think he saw him starting to detach or something. He's like it might, like he said something about his eaves weren't strong enough, so he thought it was going to start making the gutters pull off or something. So he was putting the stuff in. I was like, you can't do that.
Yes, in those scenarios, it's good to remove the weight. because once it will melt, it will take off the weight. Because if it's snow and ice, it increases the weight, and you need stronger clips or stronger screws to keep it together. But the actual thing is that the gutters should be properly connected. So this is like one man handyman kind of trick or tip, but you cannot do it all the time. So in I would say gutters should be properly connected so they can take the load. But yes, you can do that once, every now and then when needed.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So I have a question as well. So I know you kind of touched on it already. First of all, I never knew you could have two layers of roofing anyway. I mean, is that the way that it's done? Or is that something that people do for extra protection?
No, that is actually to save cost. So, if without removing the first layer of shingles, some people put the second layer of shingles on top of that, it just saves cost. But ideally, there should be one layer of shingles. So that is
Oh,
better.
wow.
Yeah. So if you put a second layer of shingle, because they don't have to remove the shingles, it saves some cost, but it creates ventilation problems, and it holds moisture, and it may reduce this life of the second roofing. So ideally, there should always be one layer of shingles. That's much better.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Okay. So my other question to you is, can you kind of give us a few things that you suggest that should be done in the winter to your house to actually get it ready for the snow? Or we've already had some snow, but I mean, just kind of, let people that are already in their homes know just a few steps that they can take to protect their home from, the winter, the ills of winter.
Yeah, so some of the basic maintenance thing is just before winter season, walk around the house, see if there are any cracks, any openings in the siding or foundation, seal them properly. If you just look around the windows, if any caulking is missing or any weather stripping is missing around the doors, reinstall that to prevent drafts entering or air infiltration. That can save on energy as well.
Mhm.
So these are maintenance things. Then check for your chimney. If you have a chimney, make sure your damper is working properly to prevent drafts. So these are basic things that every homeowner should do to save on energy and keep the house warm. Get your furnace serviced. Make sure your furnace has good ventilation. It has proper space.
Okay. Okay. So, how can our clients get in touch with you if they want to get their house inspected? Because we have some people that actually get a home inspection done prior to putting their house on the market, which I think is a
Yes,
really smart thing.
yes, I
Because then
do.
you kind of already know what it is you need to do. And
Mhm.
then, of course, we know that you're going to spell it all out and say, if you do this, you need to do that. So that way, when you actually come for a person that's buying a house, the person that's selling their house already knows what type of items that need to be taken care of. So, how can people get in touch with you to get that done, man?
So my number is 667-686-7281, and my email is info@alhumdinspections.com.
Okay. And also, they can pay for the inspection on the day of the inspection, or do they have to pay for it prior to getting the inspection?
Depending if they are your clients, then they can pay on day of inspection. And but if they normally, I would they have to pay before the day of inspection. So
And if I
Because
could
we're gonna
ask
make
you
sure
this,
you get paid. I
yeah,
just wanted to know that because sometimes in transactions, people have to hurry up and get it done.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
at the end of the day, I just wanted to know that so that people know that on the day of or prior to, they can pay for the inspection. And how is it calculated? Is it calculated on the square foot of the property? How do
Uh-huh.
you calculate that?
so two factors. One, the area, the size of the house, and second is the distance.
Okay.
Yeah, these are the only two factors that I include.
do you
So
have
what
like a
areas do you
range? Um,
inspect?
In what areas? So I go as far as my clients need me. So like
Oh,
I tomorrow I have an inspection that is 90 miles from my house, so almost 2 hours drive.
Mhm.
Mm. What about Maryland, DC, Virginia? What any other states?
So Maryland and DC only. I don't go to Virginia as of
Oh,
now.
wow.
I was trying to see people go to North Carolina this morning.
He said, no, not North Carolina. But I was wondering because a lot of people have no idea how much inspections cost. Do you have just like a ballpark or a range of what the inspection would cost?
Yes, now for townhouses, it's normally between 400 to 500, depending on the size. And different companies, they have different parameters. Some use age, some use, type of house. Some say if there's a crawl space, there's going to be extra cost. But these are the basic pricing is for a townhouse is from 400 to 500, and for a single family it's from 500 to 600, I would say, depending on the size. I mean, if it's a small single family house, then it could be like 400 or 450, but for a standard 2000 square feet house, it's from 400 to 500 to 600.
Okay, good to
Okay,
know.
that's good to know. Yes, very much so. So we want to make sure that every person that listens to Coffee and Conversations takes a, if they're interested in selling their house and they know that there's a few deficiencies, that they can give you a call and you can do that home inspection for them prior to putting it on the market. So they already know. You already know what you have to do, because another home inspector is going to find those items and it could virtually prevent you from selling. I mean, depending on if you're selling it as is or not, if it's safety related, it's something that you definitely would have to take, you would have to
Yeah.
handle. So I do tell my clients, especially when I know that they haven't been doing proper maintenance and things like that over the years, to try to get it inspected prior to, so they already know they can handle the deficiencies. And then once the person that's buying the house comes and inspects it, that is up to par and there's not any issues, related to the roof, the floors, or anything like that. So I definitely do. I think that's a great idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful idea. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have gotten some great information today. I'm sure we might have some other questions coming in. If we do, I'm going to make sure I shoot them to you. And that way I know you'll get us the answers that we need. And, but we appreciate you coming on here this morning with us. Do you have anything else you want to share with us?
Well, the main thing or the important thing is maintenance. I always say a stitch in time saves nine. Whenever it comes to a house, these are small things, small maintenance items that every homeowner should take care of and take preventive measures. And if you do, things last longer, the components, the structure, everything, you have to spend less later on. So if you do it on time.
Right, right,
Mhm.
right.
Right. Definitely. So we're gonna make sure our clients get to you so that you can get those home inspections done timely without any delay.
Mm.
Definitely. We're gonna send them your way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All right, Alicia. What are we?
Reliable realtors.
Mashana?
Offering exceptional service.
No need to go far. Come on
Come on
down to
down to
AMR.
AMR.
Have a good one.
Have a wonderful day. We love you guys.